It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
So my friends, you know, May 18th is a very important date for us here in Luzerne County, for that matter, in the state. It's our primary election. And there are some very important positions that have to be filled. One of them is the Common Pleas Luzerne County Judge. And we want to make sure that we get the right person in there because, as we see, they can affect our lives many ways. One person who is running for judge is Tarah Toohil. And Tarah joins us today. Tarah, nice to see you.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
State legislator for 11 years. Okay, now, there's no question, the record stands, you've done an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Let's talk about some of the things you did as a state representative.
So we've had many accomplishments. Really, I've been able to advocate for the people of this district here in southern Luzerne County every day and for the people of all Pennsylvania. So I've been able to do a lot of work for championing children's issues, but also for our seniors, helping them, making sure that crimes against seniors are treated very seriously, elder abuse, identity theft, fraud, all of those types of cases. I've been on the Judiciary Committee for 10 years, and I've worked intricately with those laws, creating those laws and bettering those laws to protect especially our seniors and our children. The defense, when they can't defend themselves, the laws really need to protect those groups in our population.
Well, you've done so well with all the different laws, and you've made some yourself, okay, addressing them. Now, you're looking to become a common pleas court judge, okay?
Yes.
Why the transition?
So it's very frequent. As a lawmaker, I love the law. I've always loved being an attorney. I've practiced in federal court. I've practiced in county courts here in Luzerne and surrounding. I've done a lot of pro bono work for families that couldn't afford it here in the area. So I have a deep love of the law, and being a lawmaker is an honor for me. It's been such an honor to represent this area and to actually write the laws that impact our lives. And this is a very natural transition to move to the judiciary, where I still will get to help families every day. It's just going to be from a different vantage point, and it's going to be only for the people of the county.
Well, that's the scene, you know, they know you as a state representative. And again, your record shows you've done an outstanding job. You won very big in the last election. And the people that I hear are saying, well, do we really want to lose her in the state? Because she's doing so well for us, representing us. I think, you know, in our conversation, you said being in the state legislature is like being in court every day.
Yes. So you have to be prepared. You have to know your facts. You have to argue on behalf of your clients, which are the constituents here in the 116th Legislative District. And, you know, it's every single day, that preparation and that work. And I've been able to write laws, transportation laws, laws in the health committee, laws that affect local government. So you really are this jack of all trades where you work in every area. Potholes are my problem. Transportation funding is my problem, right? And here, there is a need for both county, so there's two positions that are going to be on the ballot for county judge, and it's going to be listed as Court of Common Pleas, and there's two openings. And both of those judges that get elected, they are going to go to family court. And anyone that knows me personally and knows the work that I've done on behalf of families in Pennsylvania and in Luzerne County, they know that that's a big passion and love of mine. Child protection, being a champion for children, that's my #1 love and passion. Obviously, I advocate for adoption, for people to become foster parents, for homeless children. There's been so much that I've been able to do philanthropically, as well as in writing the laws. And the family court judges, they preside over divorce cases, adoptions, termination of parental rights, the PFAs, the domestic abuse issues that arise in families, child custody issues. So right now, there's such a large amount of those cases, and that's going to increase because of COVID, because of what we're seeing, the impacts on families right now. All of our families are living through that. So both of the positions are going to assist in family court. And that really is, I think, a great fit for me, and I'll be able to work hard every day for the people of Luzerne County in that capacity.
Well, a judge could only go rule based on what the law is. Okay.
Yes.
The last 11 years, you've been on the show a number of times, and there a lot of things came up where laws had to be changed because judges could only go so far unless the law is changed.
Yes.
Okay. What did you see any of those in the last 11 years where you felt there had to be changes made? And that's where, I think the expertise comes in as to we have to change this law to help the judges when they're making their decisions.
Yes. So I actually received an award for my work on Marcy's Law. And Marcy's Law is a victim's rights piece of legislation. So if you are a victim of a crime, that you would be notified of when the court proceedings were going to be, when sentencing was going to be, and when the perpetrator of a crime, the person that's convicted, when they're going to be released. And that law actually came from a family that was negatively impacted from that, and her name was Marcy. And so I worked on Marcy's Law. So there's an area where the court needed more guidance, and that's one of those laws. Also with adoptions, I've done adoption reforms. The courts in Pennsylvania, I did a divorce reform that I actually was recognized for here in Pennsylvania by the Pennsylvania Bar Association, which is all of the Pennsylvania lawyers. I was recognized for my work on the divorce code, which made divorces, so changing the statute to make divorces more family friendly so that it wasn't resulting in home foreclosures, bankruptcies, and trauma on the children, reducing that trauma on children. So that's an area where the law needed change, and I have done that. I've passed that law, it's been signed, and it's had a positive impact on families, and that law is on the books. So, practicing attorneys right now are able to benefit from that, as well as families in Pennsylvania.
Tarah, you've been around for 11 years, and there's a huge senior citizens audience living in Luzerne County, and sometimes they're vulnerable, and people take advantage of them. Even particularly around election time, they lie to them and the whole bit. What have you done for seniors, okay? Because they need help and they want a straight shooter. Now, you've been around for 11 years, so they know Tarah Toohil, and that's the difficulty they have is we don't want to lose Tarah as our state representative because she's taking good care of us.
Yes. And so a large part of that care is constituent work, calling because you couldn't get the vaccine. We stayed on the phone with you until you got your vaccine appointments. Dealing with unemployment. We had a lot of seniors that are still working and they couldn't go because they would be vulnerable to getting COVID-19 and they needed unemployment. And the whole labor and industry unemployment compensation system broke down. That was my staff on the phone working on those cases. So my constituent work, and they know my staff. They know Malia and Chris. They know how hard they work. And I think there's also that concern, what about Malia and Chris, right? And so what happens when a state representative gets elected as judge, the office still continues to function. So even upon me, hopefully I will be voted for on May 18th. I'm asking for the vote of the people, and it is entirely in the hands of the people. And upon election and upon taking seat as judge, the office continues to function until another state representative is selected as a replacement. So the office still functions on that day-to-day basis. And that, I think, while I'm here talking to you, down the street, my office is answering those phone calls. And if you have to leave a message, we're short-staffed, and we will get right back to you. So we deal with issues every day. And right now it's just unemployment related as well as COVID-19 vaccine related for our seniors. The property tax rebates, we're doing those right now. And those functions of a state representative, I get a lot of credit for those, but they function without me, and we'll make sure that that is preserved for the people.
Moving on then to judgeship, you're dealing with people. And just like your laws affect, thousands of people, a judge can change a person's life. I mean, so the one thing that you want to make sure is that you have a fair person who understands, life. Right?
Yes.
You've seen thousands of constituents, as a state legislator. How would you want to be looked at as a judge?
So I am extremely hardworking. Anyone that knows me knows how hardworking I am. I've never not been it's not grammatically correct to say, but I've never not had two jobs. I mean, I've always worked my entire life. I worked since a young age, 14 years old at the Powerhouse in Whitehaven. I worked at McDonald's. I would work a double shift. I would go from McDonald's in the morning and to the Powerhouse at night. And I continued that through college. I struggled to be able to afford to go to law school. I commuted to law school and worked full time while in law school. And I'm hardworking, so I start really early in the morning and you have to drag me out at the end of the day. And I'm going to do that for the people of Luzerne County if elected judge. And working on those cases is very important because people need to be able to come to court. So right now we've had a retirement of a judge as well as another retirement on the horizon. That's those two judicial positions. And my ability to work hard and I'll be able to focus and get through cases, and that's what people need. They need their day in court. A lot of these cases, when they languish, it hurts families even more. So I've been able to accomplish a lot, and I've always had the interests of safety. I helped close the MinSec prison that was here in this district, but that was very well known around the county that there were prisoners that were coming out during the day and committing crimes and really hurting the people of this community. And I was able to take action on that. So I have a huge record of hard work, and I'm also a very fair person. I will listen to all sides of a case. Sometimes there's 4 sides to a story. People always say there's 2 sides. I'm like, sometimes I think there's 4 sides. So people will not leave my courtroom feeling that they weren't able to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Folks, I'm talking to Tarah Toohil. She's running for judge, Luzerne County. ToohilForJudge.com, and Facebook is Toohil for Judge, right?
Yes.
Okay. We're trying to get you to learn as much as you can about the candidates, particularly the judgeship. As you know, it's a very important position. We come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what makes her best, what makes the fit her the best for the particular judgeship. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. 24/7, SSPTV.com. Remember, in the Wilkes-Barre, Mountaintop, Kingston area, we're on channel 92 every Saturday and Sunday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And appreciate all nice comments we're getting from Wilkes-Barre. I want to say hi to my friends there. My guest today is Tarah Toohil. She's a state representative, and she wants to be the next Luzerne County Court judge. Tarah, we talk about, a judge is very important. I was in Pottsville a week ago, and we're running, their candidates in Schuylkill County as well as again. And a lady came out and she said, Mr. Lesante, she said, this is outside the chamber, she said, I wasn't very interested in who runs for a judge. And I watched your show on one of the judges, and she said, it's funny because my brother very close friend, was going to court on a very serious matter. And the first thing he wanted to find out is, who is the judge and what kind of person is that judge? And when
That makes sense. Yeah, people want a fair day in court.
That's right. And so when he found out, the word was, this particular judge is a fair judge. And so when we talk about temperament, because we're all human beings, we make mistakes, Tarah. You've seen it for the last 11 years with all your constituents. Where do you fit in that temperament area?
So I'm an easygoing person, obviously. I'm very compassionate. I have a big heart. Obviously, my heart is really based in foster care and adoption, and
you've done it, right?
And I've done it personally. So, on a personal note, people that don't really know me very well, I have no biological children. My children are all adopted. So that's a big item for me. And there's children right now in the community that live in, they're not orphanages, but they're buildings and facilities, and they still need a forever home. So Brandon's Forever Home, I was a co-founder of that, and it's a huge passion for me. And so I not only talk the talk, but I walk the walk in my life. And I think that I relate to people, even if my life experiences are completely different from theirs. I'm able to find a way to meet in the middle. I've been able to work in a very bipartisan manner in the legislature. I've worked with Democratic governors, I've worked with Republican governors, and there's always a way to look at us as people. People, I think, know that I'll be impartial, I'll be fair, and I'll give people a chance to be heard in my courtroom.
The interesting thing is, on the House floor, it is like you are in court every day, evaluating thousands of cases, making oral arguments, et cetera, et cetera. And that's, I never put that in perspective.
Yes. And I don't think the legislators, they're lawmakers, many of them are not attorneys, and they don't even realize it, but they have to become an attorney in a way, because you have to stand up in front of everyone, you have to argue your case, you have to answer questions on debate, you get questioned with points of parliamentary inquiry, you get questioned on the language of your legislation. So there's so much constant preparation and work that goes in on that side that's totally different than the hat in the district where you are doing constituent work. So, and really the Speaker of the House, he's really the judge. And the people, I guess, that watch PCN, not everyone watches PCN, right? But they call balls and strikes. And I think that's what people want. They want to know that they're going to have a fair judge that serves with fidelity. And I know that I'm the person for that. And the fact that family court is needing help with all of these cases, even more so, I know that this is the time for me to transition or attempt to transition from the legislature to the Luzerne County bench, so that I can work on those divorce cases, I can work with families, conciliation conferences, getting families to get used to their new norm if they're divorced, what the custody situation is going to be like, making sure that there's less trauma on children, and the cases need to be heard. So you need judges on the bench that are going to put in the work and make sure that people have, sometimes there's emergency motions that have to be heard. So I'm able to do that labor-intensive part of this, and I know that I will do that. And I've written criminal statutes, civil statutes, every area of the law, and I've really had a lot of exposure practicing in those areas. I worked for the district attorney and worked on cases in the district attorney's office in Dauphin County, and I worked for now Congressman Matthew Cartwright. I was his paralegal. I couldn't afford to go to law school right away, and I waited, and I worked with now Congressman Cartwright, and that was all personal injury work. So I really have versatility, and I'm hardworking. If there's something I don't know, I'll learn it. And I'm really excited about this endeavor, and it's really up to the people out there on if they're going to entrust me with this new position and allow me to work as a judge for them.
Staying in that realm about what you've done, okay, being the chairwoman of the Government Oversight Committee, okay?
Yes.
Here again, you know, you have all these prestigious positions.
And very time consuming.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
yeah.
It is a lot.
Tell us about this Government Oversight Committee.
So the Government Oversight Committee was newly formed last session, and I am the chairwoman of it. I was appointed by the majority leader, and in the House, everything is based on tenure and how long you've been there. So I was actually selected on merit, and I'm very honored because it wasn't my time in the seniority list to be picked for that position. But as an attorney, they thought that I was right for that position. And Government Oversight Committee, we receive referrals from the majority leader or the Speaker of the House to investigate a case. And we have subpoena power. We're able to call witnesses, and it is very much like what goes on in the judicial branch. So I'm very honored, and we do have a referral before us that was made public, and that was with the COVID-19 and the nursing homes. And you can read all about that on my legislative webpage. And if anyone has questions about that, that's all on the legislative end.
So here we go with the dilemma that a person would have. Here's Tarah Toohil, state representative, doing extremely well in the state house. Do we really want to lose her as a state representative and, you know, even make her a judge in Luzerne County?
This would allow me to focus on the cases before me. And unfortunately, child welfare and child protection, while that's something that I fight for every day in the legislature, it's not one of the big items. Even the reforms that we've been able to have with elder abuse and protecting our seniors, working with our veterans, those are easier items. It just seems like child protection is always, it's just always last on the list. And it's never really at the forefront. There's a lot of problems, obviously, with the funding of caseworkers. You know, we're having school problems with education right now. And child welfare is just this totally different animal, really. And so people that know how passionate I am about child protection and child welfare, I'm asking you to see that and that passion, the foster care passion. My parents had 42 foster brothers and sisters for me, which completely changed my life, right? And that impact and being able to have lived that journey makes it my passion. So that's all part of family court. So that's really, I can't really sum it up better than that, but I do believe that seeing that side of the story, that the voters will push me and put me into this position where I can focus on that all day long. But it's an extremely great honor, and it was a very difficult decision to take this chance at leaving the legislature because I'm honored to be where I am and do the work that I do.
You feel that you could do much more as a judge?
In the area of family law, with what my personal focus has been.
With the experience that you have.
Yes.
Well, you got about 30 seconds. Tell the viewers why they should vote Tarah Toohil for Luzerne County Judge.
Thank you. So I'm asking on May 18th for your vote, Tarah Toohil, and it's going to be listed on the ballot as Court of Common Pleas. I'm on the Democratic ticket as well as the Republican ticket. I'm hoping if you see this and you're not going to be able to get to the polls, that you will consider doing the mail-in ballot. We're trying to make sure that everyone comes out and votes. People don't really get excited about municipal elections, but they're extremely important. Your school board candidates, your county court judges, there's 2 positions. There may not be a county court judge elected in another 15 years. So your vote is important, and your one vote could make a big difference. It could be a very close election because there are 5 candidates for these 2 positions. So I'm hardworking, I am compassionate, I am tough. If you come into my courtroom, you will leave feeling that you have been heard and that you've had your day in court. And I think that's extremely important, that a judge is fair and impartial. And my passion is family court. I've worked extensively with adoption, foster care, divorce reform, and there's so much we can do with diversionary programs. There's so much we can do with a non-payment of child support and directing those individuals to a JOB. I think a family sustaining job is an important solution for families and really will help get our families into a better place. I know that COVID-19 has been extremely difficult. There's been a rise in alcohol abuse, domestic violence, and all sorts of issues that have been impacting your families. And those cases are going to end up in the courts. Divorces are going to be up. They say the divorce rate and divorce filings are up. That already impacts 60% of families in Luzerne County. So I'm asking for your vote, for your consideration, and for your vote on May 18th. And I'm very honored to be able to even be on the ballot and be able to ask you for that. So Tarah Toohil for Luzerne County Court of Common Pleas. I thank you for your consideration.
Well, Tarah, I wish you and all the candidates the very best of luck. It's a very important position, as you just said. So remember, most importantly, folks, vote on May 18th. We'll see you next time.